There we go. And let me just show you where we are. And there we are. Hi, guys. All right. So what I'd like to do is just get the details from you before we start, Narita. So what's Zanele's surname?
Zwane.
Zwane.
Z-W-A-N-E.
Okay, that's great. And Zanele's position in the company?
She's a debtor's clerk.
Debtor's clerk. And she started work at the company when?
I'm not exactly sure of the date.
Zanele, when did you start?
27.
So, what year? 2013. Okay, 2013 is fine. All right. So I just want to confirm this. Sorry, I just want to see if you can see my screen. There we go. All right. I'm going to use this screen to track everything we say. This is a disciplinary inquiry. The purpose of the disciplinary inquiry is to determine the veracity of the charges that we will list now, the veracity of the charges against Zanele Zwane, brought by her manager, Narita, who in fact is the Chief Financial Officer of Upat. Narita, can I just ask you, what are the charges?
The charges are as follows: not following company procedures and being in possession of company property without authorization.
Okay, so not following procedures and being in possession of company property without authorization. Okay, so there are the two charges: not following company procedures and being in possession of company property without authorization. Zanele, are you comfortable that you did receive notice of this disciplinary inquiry and that you did understand your rights in terms of that notice? Zanele, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Are you comfortable that you received notice and that you understood your rights in terms of the notice?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, fair enough. Good. Well, then I'm quite comfortable that the notice has been served, that the charges are understood. And for the company, Narita, if I can please ask you, I'm going to explain the process very, very quickly. There are two stages to the process. Stage one of the process is where I'm going to listen to the company's case. I'm then going to want to hear Zanele's response to the company's case. And then on the basis of these charges, which is not following procedure, being in possession of company property without authorization, I will then make a finding as to guilt or no guilt in terms of this first stage. The company is entitled to call witnesses, and in fact, Zanele is also entitled to call witnesses when she gives her case. Thereafter, if I find Zanele guilty of one or both of these charges, only then will we move to stage two. Stage two is a stage of mitigation and aggravation. Mitigation is a situation where we're saying, okay, I did something, but it's not that bad because, or aggravation, she did something, she should have known it was bad, she was in a position of trust or authority or whatever, it makes it even worse. And that's aggravation. Once I have heard both mitigation and aggravation, including, by the way, aggravation could be previous warnings, then I will consider my final decision, which is the punishment based on the finding of guilt, and I will also discuss what appeal looks like after that. So that's the process that we're going to be going into. So without any further ado, Narita, if I can please ask you to explain the company's case. I am going to switch off my microphone while you're talking.
Okay, so I was advised yesterday of a shortage of funds. So let me start with last week. Last week, Privy contacted me to say that we have 55,000 rands worth of cash that had come from downstairs in our cash counter sales department. I advised her to bank it, And Richard said that we needed some cash in the office due to employees returning from home to a work environment to buy sanitizers and protective equipment, and that Diane also needed some petty cash and that we should keep the money in the office. So we decided not to bank it. Yesterday I was advised by Diane, and I advised Diane to please collect the money and sign for it from the debtors department. I was advised by Diane yesterday that she only received 30,000 Rand, not 55,000 Rand. I asked Privy to advise me what made up the 55,000 Rand. One of them, 40,000 Rand, I'll give you the exact amounts. No, sorry, I just got them here. Yeah, I printed everything out here. Okay, so Privy told me that there was a 14,746 Rand 60 receipt, for which Zanele had done a cash journal. Well, Privy had done a cash journal, and Zanele confirmed she had the money. And then there was another amount of 40,604 Rand and 29 cents, a receipt from mining and industrial, which Privy said to me was invoiced in February, but the money was never deposited. She had contacted the customer to ask him to pay these funds to us, and he had advised that he had in fact paid these funds to us in February this year. So these funds have been, and then we contacted Mark from downstairs at counter sales, and he said, yes, indeed, Zanele had taken the money in February. Prior to lockdown, I had confirmed with Privy and Zanele that all funds had been banked or cashed or put in the safe, and they both assured me that there was no cash lying around anywhere. So basically, not following up company procedures is collecting the money from downstairs and having handed it to Privy to receipt, and then the money either gets banked or gets given to me to be put into petty cash, for which I sign a receipt that they process through the system, and they sign as well. So there's two signatures on a form. And then this funds, the 40,000 that Zanele took in February, is what I'm saying. She's in a possession of company property without authorization, because this money was never handed to us for either banking or petty cash.
All right, just hold on a moment, please. So I'm just going to say here. All right, so Zanele, can I just ask you to respond to that? Is the way Narita tells it accurate or not accurate? Zanele?
Accurate.
Is it accurate?
Yes.
So you're not contesting the Narita's case?
No.
All right, can I ask you what your response is? In other words, can I ask you why you never put the money in the safe and what happened to the money? Zanele? Can you hear me?
Okay.
Can I ask you why you never put the money in the safe, or why you didn't return the money to the company?
I did return it, but it's short.
When did you return it?
When I returned to work,
When was that?
20th of May.
Sorry, when of May?
20th?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Could you speak closer to the microphone?
20th?
Oh, 20th, yeah, of May.
Give me a second. I just want to ask Zanele to move to the back of the
Okay,
table. There's
fine.
better mic there.
All right. While Zanele is moving, Zanele, did you return all of the money on the 20th of May, or was it short?
Was short.
And how much was it short by?
It's short with 15,000, I think.
And what was the reason for it being short?
I used some of it.
So you used 15,000. What was your justification in using that 15,000?
There isn't any I thought I would pay back.
Okay. All right.
Iva, may I say something here?
Yes, of course.
Am I allowed to?
Yes, of
Okay, if we add the two amounts of money that has been receipted, it's 55,000 Rand, and Diane has confirmed that she received 30,000 Rand. So there's a shortage of 25,000, not 15,000.
Zanele, do you acknowledge that it was 25,000 and not 15,000?
I thought it was 15.
May I just give you the amount again? It's
Yes.
on the one that was collected in February by Zanele. There was an amount of 4604.29.
Yes.
And the second receipt was 14.
Sorry, the second?
Receipt was 14,746.60. And those two amounts add up to over 55,000.
Okay. All right. So look, the bottom line is here.
It adds up to 55,350.89. Of which Diane confirmed she's got 30,746.20. So there's a discrepancy of 24,604.69.
So the discrepancy of
24,604.69.
all right. So Zanele, the company is contending that you have taken from the company an amount of 24,604 Rand and 69 cents. Do you acknowledge that, or do you contest the amount?
I acknowledge.
All right. Okay. In the absence of any other explanation from you, Zanele, I basically find you guilty on both charges. I find you guilty of being in possession of company property and not following company procedures. So let's move to the second stage of this inquiry. Now, Zanele is a debtor's clerk. And I'm going to start with aggravation as opposed to mitigation. And I'm going to ask you, Narita, as far as aggravation is concerned, what if I had to say to you, I have everything from a first written warning through to a final written warning, through to dismissal with notice pay, through to summary dismissal without notice pay, through to a criminal charge. but I'm thinking of a first written warning. I'm not, I'm just giving it as an example. I'm thinking of a first written warning. Why would you want me to dismiss her and lay a criminal charge against her? In other words, why would you want me to move all the way along that spectrum right to the very end? In other words, what is aggravating about this case?
In my opinion, being a debtors clerk, and especially in that position at Upat, where that position requires handling cash all the time, every week, and whenever counter sales gets cash, that person has to be of the highest integrity and honesty to fetch the cash and deal with it as per company policy, which is give it to privy to receipt, give it to either me to put it into petty cash or to bank it. I feel that the trust has been broken between me and Zanele. I really trusted her with large amounts of money. And to me, that is a serious breach of trust where I cannot find myself in a position to trust her with money again.
Okay. I have given you a choice of, so I assume you're asking for dismissal here. Narita?
Ivor, I actually don't believe we have a choice.
So, and I assume that you, in asking for dismissal, you have a choice, either with notice pay or without notice pay.
Yes.
So which one would you choose?
In view of the fact that there's 24,604.69, I'd first like to put to Zanele how she plans to pay that back to the company. Because if we give her notice pay, then we're further out of pocket. Because we're already out of pocket of close to 5,000 Rand.
Okay, so I'm hearing you say this. I'm hearing you say that you want the money back. You will not be paid notice pay. Now, I need to ask you this. What about a criminal charge? Remembering that your insurance company will insist that when money like this goes missing, if the company claims for that money under the insurance policy, they will insist on the criminal charge being laid. Is that what you're looking for?
Yes, we have to. If Zanele cannot pay back the money, then we're going to have to go with a criminal charge.
So you're saying a criminal charge if the money is not paid back?
Yeah, if she's not in a position to pay it back now.
Okay. Zanele, you've heard what the company is asking for. What do you have to say in your defense in mitigation against the company dismissing you summarily with no notice pay and laying a criminal charge against you for theft?
I'm just going to request that I be given just a few more days to get the money and pay back the money to the company.
How many more days?
A week.
1 week. All right. Can I ask, and I need to ask this question, has this happened before, Zanele? Narita, do you have any evidence of it happening before?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Not that I'm aware of, because remember, I'm there for less than a year. So in my experience, it hasn't happened before.
And is there anything on file in terms of warnings or counseling about it?
I'm afraid I don't know the answer to that. We'll have to check with Diane, because the files are kept with Diane.
All right, but Zanele, from your point of view, have you ever been in this position before? No. All right. My final decision is this. Number 1, dismissal. Number 2, no notice pay. Number 3, 1 week from service of finding, which means in writing, 1 week to return the full amount. Failure to do so will result in a criminal charge being laid. All right. I quite frankly have nothing else to say. So that's my finding. So, well, nothing else in terms of the finding. So Zanele, you will be dismissed immediately. You will not be paid notice pay. You will be given 1 week to repay the amount to the company. If in 1 week you do not pay the amount back to the company, a criminal charge will be laid against you, and for theft. You have 5 working days to appeal against this finding in writing. The company does not have to grant an appeal. Normally, you would appeal on one of 2 grounds. So the grounds of your appeal would either be that evidence presented has not been taken into account, or alternatively, that the punishment was too severe for the offence. Like I say, the company does not have to grant the appeal, but if they do grant the appeal, it will basically be a new hearing. All right. There's really nothing else to say except that this is extremely disappointing, particularly at this time. Okay, so Narita, I will send you my findings. You will then make them available to Zanele. From the date that you make them available to Zanele, she will have 5 working days within which to repay the money. If she doesn't repay the money, a criminal charge will be laid against her. Zanele, do you have anything to say as a final comment?
I'm truly sorry for the embarrassment that I've caused in the company and to my manager as well.
All right. Thank you, people. Appreciate your time.
Okay, thanks, Iva.